Joining us again today. Today we're going to talk about vision deficits. And boy, this is a tough one because when you can't see, you feel helpless, you get very anxious, and a lot of things happen to the eye as it ages. One of the things that happens to the eye is that it can't block out the light, and the pupils don't close down. So very often we might be bringing somebody down to the group and we might turn around and face them towards the window to look at the garden while we get other people, and then all of a sudden that person that we brought down, oh, I can't be in this room anymore. I'm getting a headache. I'm going to go back to my room. And what has happened, as much as we thought we were doing a good thing by letting them look at the garden while they waited for other people to come down, actually we were harming them a little bit because the intensity of the light coming in on their pupils didn't close down and it was too bright for them, causing a headache. Another thing that will happen to our older people is that they have no depth perception. And we might be wheeling them down the hall, and you may see somebody that looks like this, and they look freak out and frightened because what's happening as the wheelchair is moving down the hall, it might be moving too fast, and they don't have that depth perception, and they feel like, oh, I'm going to hit that wall. So we want to make sure that we wheel them down at a normal pace, and of course always make sure that you ask them that you can move their wheelchair first before you start to move it, because we don't want to shock them or surprise them. So those things have to happen. The other thing that I want you to know about vision is that their pixels, as the eye ages, their pixels, those little things, little squares that make up the vision on the back of their retina, that does not always clear off as fast as yours and mine do. So basically what this is like is like when you look at, say, a minister or a teacher talking up and giving a presentation, and you've been staring at them at the long time, every once in a while you'll turn away and you'll see the outline of their being or their shadow as your pixels clear off when we've stared at somebody for a long time. Well, with our older people, their pixels do not clear off nearly as fast, so they're seeing this quite often. And sometimes they'll say, oh, there's a vase on that table, don't bump it, because they're actually seeing their pixels haven't cleared off. And then they'll say, oh, it's fine, it's not there, it's okay. They're not having illusions or delusions, it's just that their pixels did not clear off as fast. The other thing that happens to us as we age is that we do start to lose our vision. Sometime roughly in the 40s, you'll see a lot of people that are wearing their glasses like this. They put them way down here because they've lost some of their vision, so they need their glasses on so they can see. Well, we also found out that bifocals are not a good thing for people to wear, and that transitions where you do not have the line in is much better. Sometimes having bifocals will cause people to fall because they can't make that transition when they lift up to look out, as opposed to when they look down to see something that's written on the page. So we want to be careful of that. The other thing that we want to do as activity people is make sure when you put up your announcements, you put them on a black and white paper. And I know as activity people, we always want to put those bright colors up so that people will be aware of it. But what happens is the density of a bright lime-colored paper against black ink, the density is too close, and as a result, they can't distinguish the letters on the page. It's very fuzzy for them. So make sure you go black and white so there's a higher density, a higher contrast, so that they can see it. What I'd like to do for you next, I can't exactly give you an unfair vision test, but what I'm going to do is put up some glasses that I have made out of safety glasses. So they're just your normal little safety glasses, but what I've done is I've covered them up in different ways so you can see what it's like for the different perceptions. Now, what I'm going to hold up first is what it's like when a person has a stroke and they lost part of their vision. And so very often you'll see a person turning like this, and they're not ignoring you. It's just that they cannot see out of one side of their eye. So this is what they're seeing, and you'll see that they have a blocked area. Let me see if I can reach it. So that is what it's like for them to see. They can see half of the image, but not the whole image. They can only see part of it. Now, you will probably be one of the first people to recognize, oh, gee, they just had a stroke and maybe they're having some vision problem because they keep turning their head looking out of one side. And very often, not only is it blocked from one side on each side of the face, but also it's blocked on the side, and so they can't see exactly where they're going. You would hope that maybe they could turn their head and see more, but that's why they're turning their head. So if you're tossing them a ball and all of a sudden they're turning like this, it's because they can only see out of that side of their face. Now, they could have the vision impairment on the right or the left side, depending on the stroke, or they also could have the vision impairment right down the center. And I don't know if I can show this to you, how it would look, but that whole center section is blocked off, then they can't see. A way for you to test for this is to put your finger up or hold a pencil while you're talking to them and make that pencil go across their face. Can they track your finger and follow your finger back and forth? Then they don't have any problem with the vision. But if they go like this and they don't follow your finger as it comes up, and they can only follow it this far, and then they lose it, then that's a sure sign that they can't see a full spectrum from their peripheral vision to their center vision to their side vision. So that's something to watch for when you're working with people in groups, because it'll help the nurses determine. Because usually right after a stroke, nobody has a vision test, so they may not be aware that this blockage has happened. Another thing that will happen is as we get older, our vision will have what's called yellow lenses. In other words, your lens, which is normally quite clear, will start to yellow. So this is what it's like when they're trying to see things when they have a yellow lens. And you probably can't see my finger moving behind here, but this is what it's like when they have yellow lenses. Another thing that happens to people is sometimes they're legally blind. And when they're legally blind, I never quite understood that term until I was given this test. And what happened in my group is that they put all these glasses on us and asked us to perform functions. And believe me, it was very hard. And this is what it's like when somebody is actually legally blind. This is all that they can see. It's like a fog, like they're walking through a fog. Sometimes they can see shapes behind it, and movement, and a little bit of color. But for the most part, they only see shadows. So this is what it's like to be legally blind. The last one that I'm going to show you is what's called tunnel vision. And this is what happens when the outside lens retina starts to close down and they can only see through one little corner of their eye. What I would do is I would encourage you to make glasses like this. Now you see here's the tunnel vision right here. They can only see that one little part of the eye. Make some legally blind glasses. Make the yellow lens. What happens when they start to lose their lens? And make some glasses as if they've had a stroke. This will help your staff and you understand how important vision is and what they're going through when they're trying to see things. So also I would encourage you to make sure that they do put their glasses on. When they have their glasses on, please make sure that their glasses are clean, because nothing will give you a headache quicker than a bunch of smudges in your glasses lens where you can't be seeing straight or be seeing out, or there's fingers or there are food marks on it. It makes it very irritating. If you had to any one of these conditions that I've showed you, if you were in a group and like usually within 30 minutes, people who have vision problems will start to complain saying, oh, I'm feeling dizzy, or gee, I'm starting to get a headache. And that's because the eye is working so hard to see and have the brain focus on what they're seeing that they actually do get a headache from this. So it's important that we give them a little break from doing the activity or give them a break from reading if that's what they're trying to do, and make sure that we've made them as comfortable as possible. Make sure that their glasses are on straight, make sure that they're clean. If they have any of these conditions, be sympathetic about it. Don't rush them. Give them plenty of time to process and try to see as much as they can. It was really funny. I never really realized how difficult it was when somebody was legally blind until I put on these glasses and I realized how hard it really is for somebody to see. So I would encourage you to do that for your staff so they have an awareness and they don't get impatient when people can't respond or understand as quickly because of this vision deficit. The other thing that I would encourage you to, if you're leading somebody who is blind or partially blind like this, you want to make sure that you don't grab them by the arm and push them. You want to make sure that they're holding on to your arm, and that way they can be guided. Then they feel like they're in more control, and that's really important for you to do. So I hope that's been helpful, and I hope that you will join us another time. Vision is very important, and we want to make sure that they have the most opportunity to be able to see. And when they can't see, I would also encourage you to get balls in your group that have sound in them. So sometimes I go to the pet store and I buy different balls that have sound in them, because when you're throwing a ball at somebody and have their hands open and ready, if they hear the sound coming, then they'll be able to catch the ball. And every time that we can do something to make somebody more successful in a group with an adaptive equipment to help them overcome a deficit, that's a better day for them. And it's a better day for us too. So I hope this has been helpful about different vision problems that people have, and that you will join us again. Remember, please go to Portland Community College, Connie Ratai Activities. To be the best activity director you can, please go to these tapes and watch as many as you would like, because we want you to be a good activity director. Thank you very much. See you next time.